Today, we're diving into 10 surprising facts that are going to completely shatter some really common misconceptions about Africa. A lot of times, mainstream education just leaves us with this incredibly narrow, generalized view of what is actually an absolutely immense landmass. But we are going to peel back the layers today. We'll look at the sheer scale, the ancient history, and some truly dramatic geological shifts of the African continent. Our main goal here is pure clarity. We want to give you the precise, structured facts you need to truly understand this remarkable part of our world.
Here's how we're going to break this down. First, the monolithic myth. Second, a landscape of extremes. Third, deep roots and lost wonders. Fourth, wealth and a young future. And finally, rethinking the continent.
All right, Section 1, the monolithic myth.
So, is Africa a country? Well, it's actually a surprisingly common question. People constantly use the word Africa as this casual shorthand, kind of implying it's just one single uniform place. But viewing this sprawling, massive landmass as just one entity, that literally couldn't be further from the truth. It's a foundational myth, and honestly, it completely obscures some mind-blowing realities about human civilization.
In reality, Africa is made up of 54 distinct, recognized countries. Just think about that for a second. We are talking about 54 totally different sovereign nations. Each one has its very own specific borders, governments, economic systems, and completely unique geopolitical landscapes. So treating the whole thing as just one place, it's a massive, massive oversimplification of global geography.
And it gets even more amazing because right inside those 54 borders lies some truly staggering human diversity. We're looking at over 3,000 unique ethnic groups. That means thousands of different cultural heritage, long-standing traditions, belief systems, and social structures, all coexisting right across the continent. The sheer human tapestry woven into this landmass is honestly virtually unmatched anywhere else on Earth. The linguistic scale is just as incredible. As of right now, there are more than 2,000 distinct languages spoken there, and that's not even counting regional dialects. In fact, some linguists estimate those numbers go way, way higher. And to be clear, we aren't just talking about slightly different accents here. We're talking about entirely unique linguistic families and completely different ways of communicating. It's just an absolutely extraordinary level of human expression.
Moving right along to Section 2, a landscape of extremes.
Now, to really grasp the continent's extreme diversity, let's look at two absolute geographical polar opposites. On one hand, you have the towering, freezing heights of Mount Kilimanjaro, which actually holds the title of the highest freestanding mountain in the entire world. But then, in direct contrast to that, you have these incredibly deep below sea level sinks, like the Danakil Depression over in Ethiopia. It's this vast, scorching hot landscape that really forces us to stretch our geographical imagination to the absolute limits.
And here's a huge surprise. The world's largest hot desert wasn't always dry. When we picture the Sahara, right, we usually envision these endless barren sand dunes, but the Earth's climate is so dynamic. Way back during ancient climatic cycles, the Sahara was actually lush and green, just filled with massive lakes and dense vegetation. It's a really powerful reminder that the geography we see today is just a single frame in a very, very long planetary movie.
What's even wilder is what's beneath the surface. Hiding right under the dry, arid sand of the modern desert are these massive underground fossil water reserves. The Nubian Sandstone Aquifer System is one of the absolute largest on Earth. You guys, it is essentially a massive, non-polar desert ocean hiding directly beneath the sand. It's ancient water that's just been trapped down there beneath the rock for millennia.
Popping back up to the surface for a second, the continent boasts the Nile. Now, you probably learned in history class that it's the longest river in the world, but scientific measurement is always evolving. There's actually an ongoing debate right now with different modern methods suggesting the Amazon River might take the top spot, depending entirely on where you pinpoint the exact source and mouth. But honestly, regardless of who wins that debate, the sheer scale of the Nile is absolutely staggering.
Geographically speaking, the land itself is literally transforming. And we're not talking about ancient history here. This is happening right now, right beneath our feet. The East African Rift System is slowly, steadily pulling the continent into two separate land masses. Over the course of millions of years, these tectonic plates are going to separate so much that a completely new ocean could form, eventually splitting parts of East Africa away from the main continent entirely. It is literally plate tectonics happening in real time. No way, right?
Okay, let's move on to Section 3. Deep roots and lost wonders.
So regions like the Nile Valley represent some of the most ancient, continuous, complex societies humanity has ever put on record. And for the sake of clarity, it's absolutely vital to note that this isn't just about ancient Egypt, as famous as it is. It also includes places like the highly advanced and powerful Kingdom of Nubia. These early, incredibly complex societies laid down the fundamental blueprints for modern governance, large-scale agriculture, and societal structure.
In this, deep history includes some highly advanced indigenous engineering and knowledge systems that, let's be honest, mainstream narratives usually just overlook. I mean, think about the massive, completely mortarless stone walls of Great Zimbabwe, or the Lalibela churches in Ethiopia. They were literally carved straight down into solid bedrock. And you can't forget the Dogon people in Mali. Their ancient, intricate astronomical traditions are still fascinating modern scientists today. Just brilliant.
Which brings us to Section 4, Wealth and a Young Future.
Now, beneath all that soil lies some incredible economic potential. The continent holds a massive 30% of the entire globe's mineral reserves. We are talking about vast quantities of gold, cobalt, platinum, diamonds, literally the very materials that are powering our modern technology right this second. Now, to be super clear here, it is important to understand that this economic wealth is currently very unevenly distributed across the region, but the sheer volume of resources means Africa's role in the future global economy is going to be absolutely central.
But you know what? Arguably, its greatest resource is its people. Africa boasts the world's fastest-growing youth population, with over 60% of the continent being under the age of 25. That is wild. While so many global powers are facing rapidly aging demographics, Africa is just surging with this youthful energy, innovation, and an immense upcoming workforce that is absolutely going to dictate global markets for decades to come.
And finally, Section 5, Rethinking the Continent.
After seeing the incredible diversity of 54 sovereign nations and thousands of different languages, and looking at the shifting extremes of its climate and geography, its ancient brilliance in engineering, and that massive youthful momentum driving its economy, I really challenge you to completely reframe how you view the continent moving forward. So ask yourself, how do these facts change your perception of global history and our shared future? Because once you finally look at Africa with pure clarity, you realize it isn't just a part of our world's past, it's the very engine of its future. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Support the vision. Imagine the new Africa. Inspired by the Almighty Dread. All rights reserved.